In the heart of ancient Syria lived a man respected, feared, and admired. Naaman, the powerful commander of the army of the king of Syria, a victorious warrior, accustomed to winning battles and receiving honors. Everyone saw him as a hero, but behind the shining armor, there was a wound he could not hide. Naaman carried a secret, a disease that not all his power could cure. Leprosy slowly consumed his skin and his pride, reminding him day after day that not even the greatest warriors are free from the battles no one can see. But destiny has its mysterious ways, and it is through a simple Israelite servant girl, a young woman without name or power, that hope enters his home. She speaks of a prophet, a man of God in Israel named Elisha, capable of making the impossible happen. Driven by desperation and a faith he barely understood, Naaman sets out on a journey that would change his life, not just to heal his body, but to transform his heart. A story about pride, faith, and obedience, about how sometimes the miracle only happens when we learn to humble ourselves before God. Today, you will discover the incredible story of Naaman, the warrior who had to dip 7 times in the waters of Jordan to realize his true victory was not found in war, but in faith. Picture this: the kingdom of Aram, modern-day Syria, a powerful nation feared by its neighbors. Among its most respected leaders was a man named Naaman, the commander of the king's army. This guy was a legend. Everyone admired him. Brave in battle, trusted by the king, and celebrated by his people. When Naaman rode through the city, soldiers saluted and children pointed in awe. He was the kind of man who carried authority just by walking into a room. But behind all that armor and glory, there was a secret he carried, one that no medal or victory could hide. Naaman had leprosy, a disease that slowly eats away at the skin, the nerves, and the soul. Beneath his fine robes, his body was marked by pain and shame. He might have been a hero on the battlefield, but at home, in private, he was just a man watching his body betray him bit by bit. Now, in his household lived a young Israelite girl, taken captive during one of Aram's raids. She served Naaman's wife, and though she was just a servant, she had something the entire palace didn't: faith. One day, seeing her master suffering, she said something simple yet powerful. "If only my master could see the prophet who is in Samaria, he would heal him of his leprosy." Those words changed everything. When Naaman heard about this prophet in Israel, he didn't laugh it off or ignore it. He was desperate enough to try anything. The mighty warrior was ready to cross borders, not with an army this time, but with hope. So he went to his king, who immediately wrote a royal letter to the king of Israel, basically saying, "Hey, I'm sending my top general to you. Heal him." You can imagine the panic in Israel's palace when that letter arrived. The king tore his clothes in distress, saying, "Am I God, to kill and make alive?" He thought it was a setup, like the king of Aram was picking a fight. But somewhere outside the royal halls, Elisha, the prophet of God, heard about it and calmly sent a message. "Send a man to me. He'll know there's a prophet in Israel." So Naaman set out again with horses, chariots, and gifts, silver, gold, fine clothes, the kind of stuff fit for kings. When he finally reached Elisha's house, he must have expected a grand welcome, maybe some ceremony or dramatic healing ritual. But nope, Elisha didn't even come outside. He sent a messenger with a simple instruction: "Go wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan River, and your flesh will be restored." That's it. No chance. No fire from heaven. No prophet waving his hand over the wounds. Just go take a bath in the Jordan. Naaman was furious. Seriously? I came all this way for this. He thought the rivers of Damascus, Abana, and Pharpar were much cleaner, much better than Israel's muddy Jordan. To him, this sounded insulting. The commander who was used to being honored, to being in control, now had to do something humiliating: dip himself like a common man in a foreign river. His pride boiled over. He turned his chariot around, ready to leave, when his servants, humble, loyal, and wise, approached him carefully. "My father," they said, "if the prophet had told you to do something great, something difficult, wouldn't you have done it? So why not do this simple thing? Wash and be clean." Those words hit Naaman harder than any sword ever could. He realized the battle wasn't against leprosy anymore. It was against his own pride. So, with a deep breath, he rowed down to the Jordan. Maybe the soldiers watched in silence as the great commander stepped into the muddy water. Once, twice, 3 times, 4, 5, 6, and finally the 7th. And when he came up, something incredible happened. The disease was gone. His skin wasn't just healed. It was like that of a child, soft, new, untouched. Can you imagine that moment? Naaman looking down at his hands, his arms, his reflection in the water, tears mixing with the river as he realized what just happened? The man who once wore armor to hide his shame now stood vulnerable and free, healed not just in body but in spirit. Naaman rushed back to Elisha's house, this time not as a proud commander, but as a humble man filled with gratitude. He stood before the prophet and declared, "Now I know that there is no God in all the earth except in Israel." He even tried to offer gifts to Elisha, gold, silver, expensive clothes, but the prophet refused. God's grace can't be bought. It's a gift. Naaman then asked something beautiful. "Please let me take some soil from Israel back home, because I'll never again offer sacrifices to any god except the Lord." From that day on, Naaman wasn't just a healed man. He was a transformed man. Think about it. He came looking for a cure, but found something far greater. Faith. He thought he needed a miracle for his body, but God gave him a miracle for his heart. The river that once looked dirty became the water of renewal, washing away not only his leprosy, but his arrogance, his self-reliance, his pride. Naaman's story still echoes through time, reminding us that sometimes God's greatest miracles come wrapped in the simplest instructions. We expect thunder and lightning, but he whispers, "Go wash." Trust me, it's wild how God works, right? Naaman had power, money, and influence, but none of that could save him. What healed him was obedience. That step into the Jordan wasn't just about water, it was about surrender. So maybe the real question for us is this: how many blessings have we missed because we thought God's way was too simple, too humble, or too small? Naaman's transformation teaches that healing doesn't start in the water, it starts in the heart. From proud general to humble believer, Naaman's journey is one of the most moving in the Bible. It's a reminder that God's power isn't about grand displays. It's about quiet obedience and genuine faith. And just like that, Naaman's name became eternal. Not because of his victories in war, but because of his surrender in faith. So, next time life pushes you towards something that feels beneath you, something small, quiet, or unexpected, remember Naaman. Maybe God's miracle is waiting right there in the step you're afraid to take. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Naaman's incredible story, make sure to stick around for more epic biblical journeys. These aren't just stories from the past, they're mirrors for our souls. Still alive, still speaking, still transforming hearts today.